Power base identification and mapping for upward influence. Think of a power base as a toolbox that a subordinate carries when trying to persuade a boss. The toolbox contains different tools: expertise, relationships, access to information, and personal reputation. To use these tools effectively, you first need to identify which ones you own, and then map them against the boss's needs and the organization's goals. A simple way to map is a 2x2 matrix. Column 1 blank, column 2 high relevance to boss's agenda, column 3 low relevance. Table separator line. Your strong tools, high relevance, use them actively, for example present data you own that solves a current problem. Your strong tools, low relevance, keep them ready for future opportunities. Your weak tools, high relevance, develop them - seek training or mentorship. Your weak tools, low relevance, consider if they are worth the effort. Example, Maya, a junior analyst, knows the company's new sustainability target. Her strong tool is her deep knowledge of the data analytics platform, expertise. Because the boss needs quick, reliable numbers to report progress, Maya offers to create a dashboard. By matching her expertise, strong tool, with the boss's high relevance need, she gains upward influence. The mapping process also involves a power base score for each tool. Score sub I equals ownership sub I times relevance sub I divided by effort to deploy sub I. Higher scores suggest where you should focus your effort when influencing up. Stakeholder salience theory says that stakeholders are prioritized based on 3 attributes: power, legitimacy, and urgency. In managing up, the stakeholder is your manager, but you also have other actors, peers, senior executives, customers, whose views affect how you influence the boss. Power means the ability of the manager to allocate resources, approve projects, or impact your career. Legitimacy refers to the manager's recognized right to make decisions in a certain domain, for example, budget. Urgency describes how time-sensitive the manager's need is, such as a deadline. You can plot each stakeholder, including yourself, on a Venn diagram of these 3 circles. The manager usually sits at the center, having high power and legitimacy. However, if a senior vice president pushes a new initiative, that vice president may become more salient, giving you a new route to influence your direct boss. Practical example, Alex wants to get approval for a new training program. He notes that his manager has high power and legitimacy but low urgency for training. Meanwhile, the HR director, who has high power, high urgency, and legitimacy, is championing skill development. Alex aligns his request with HR's urgency, increasing the overall salience of his proposal and making it more attractive for his manager to accept. By visualizing salience, you can decide whether to approach the manager directly, go through an influential ally, or wait until urgency rises. Influence tactics are the specific actions you take to sway a leader. For example, rational persuasion, inspirational appeals, or coalition building. The matrix helps you pick the right tactic by evaluating 2 dimensions. Fit with relationship strength: how close is your bond with the manager? Weak, moderate, strong. Fit with situation type: is the issue routine, high stakes, or change-driven? Relationship versus situation matrix. For routine situations, weak relationship uses information sharing, low risk. Moderate relationship uses rational persuasion, facts. Strong relationship uses personal appeals, favor. For high-stakes situations, weak relationship uses consultation, invite, input. Moderate relationship uses inspirational appeals, vision. Strong relationship uses legitimating site policy. For change-driven situations, weak relationship uses coalition building, gain allies. Moderate relationship uses exchange, offer resources. Strong relationship uses pressure, use authority. To score effectiveness, assign a numeric rating 1 to 5 for each tactic on credibility. Does it fit your expertise, acceptability? Will the manager view it as appropriate, and cost, time, effort, risk? Overall effectiveness score. E equals the sum from K equals 1 to 3 of rating K divided by 3. Higher E means the tactic is likely to succeed. Example, Priya wants her manager to approve a cross-functional project. Their relationship is moderate and the situation is change-driven. She picks exchange, she offers to take on additional reporting duties. She rates credibility 4, acceptability 5, cost 2, giving E equals 4 plus 5 plus 2 divided by 3, approximately 3.7, a solid choice. The matrix turns vague intuition into a clear, repeatable decision process. Organizations have formal authority, the org chart, job titles, written policies, and informal authority, personal influence, networks, expertise. When you try to influence upward, you must understand how both layers affect the manager's decisions. Formal authority tells you who makes the decision and the legal limits, for example, a budget limit. Informal authority tells you who the manager really listens to, for example, a senior peer who is a trusted advisor. Analogy: think of a river, formal, that follows a set path, but hidden currents, informal, can change its speed and direction. If you only push against the riverbank, formal, you may have little effect. If you learn where the hidden currents flow and join them, you can steer the river more easily. Real-world example: in a tech firm, the vice president of engineering formally approves all new tool purchases. However, the chief data scientist, though not on the approval line, has strong informal sway because teams respect his technical judgment. A junior engineer who wants a new analytics platform first discusses the need with the data scientist, who then recommends it to the vice president. The informal route speeds up the decision. Understanding both structures lets you craft a dual-track approach. Satisfy formal requirements, such as budget forms and SOPs, while leveraging informal allies to shape the manager's perception and timing. Game theory treats influence as a strategic game where each player, manager M, and subordinate S, chooses actions that affect outcomes. A simple 2x2 payoff matrix can illustrate the trade-offs. Payoff matrix: first column, manager chooses support S, second column, manager chooses reject R, first row, subordinate offers high-value proposal H. Manager payoff +3, subordinate +4, win-win, manager gains benefit, subordinate gets approval. If manager rejects, manager -1, subordinate -2, manager sees risk, subordinate wastes effort. Second row, subordinate offers low effort pitch L, manager +1, subordinate +1, minimal gain for both. If manager rejects, manager 0, subordinate -1, manager indifferent, subordinate loses credibility. If the subordinate invests effort in a high-value proposal H, the best response for the manager is to support S, leading to the highest joint payoff. The subordinate can calculate expected payoff based on the manager's probability of supporting. Mathematically, let P be the probability the manager will support. EH equals P times 4 plus open bracket 1 minus P close bracket times -2. EL equals P times 1 plus open bracket 1 minus P close bracket times -1. Choosing the action with the higher E maximizes the subordinate's expected gain. Example: Lena believes her manager supports new ideas 70% of the time. P equals 0.7. EH equals 0.7 times 4 plus 0.3 times -2 equals 2.8 minus 0.6 equals 2.2. EL equals 0.7 times 1 plus 0.3 times -1 equals 0.7 minus 0.3 equals 0.4. Since 2.2 is greater than 0.4, Lena should prepare a high-value proposal. Game theoretic modeling turns vague intuition about when to push into a calculable decision rule. Negotiation leverage index: calculating relative power using weighted stakeholder scores. The negotiation leverage index, NLI, quantifies how much bargaining power you have when trying to influence your manager. It combines 3 weighted components. Resource control: R, what assets you can offer, budget, data, team talent. Alternative options: A, your ability to walk away or find another path, for example, internal transfer, external job. Network influence: N, connections you have that matter to the manager, senior allies, cross-functional partners. First, assign each component a score from 0 to 10. Then apply weights that reflect the situation, weights sum to 1. NLI equals W sub R times R plus W sub A times A plus W sub N times N. Higher NLI indicates stronger leverage. Example: Jamal wants his manager to fund a pilot project. Resource control: R equals 6, he can provide a detailed market analysis. Alternative options: A equals 3, hard to move to another team. Network influence: N equals 8, he has a strong mentor in senior leadership. Assume the situation values resources most. W sub R equals 0.5, alternative second, W sub A equals 0.2, network third, W sub N equals 0.3. NLI equals 0.5 times 6 plus 0.2 times 3 plus 0.3 times 8 equals 3 plus 0.6 plus 2.4 equals 6.0. On a 0 to 10 scale, a 6.0 is moderate high leverage. Jamal can confidently present his proposal, perhaps offering a small concession, for example a phased rollout to seal the deal. The NLI helps you see which levers to strengthen before approaching the boss. For instance, building a mentor relationship would raise N, boosting overall leverage. Explanation: risk-adjusted influence planning. Expected utility analysis of upward persuasion scenarios. When you try to influence upward, there is always risk, wasted time, damaged credibility, or even retaliation. Expected utility (EU) analysis lets you weigh the benefit of a persuasive act against its risk, using probabilities. Define two possible outcomes for a persuasion attempt. Success: S. Manager adopts your idea. Failure: F. Manager rejects or ignores it. Assign a utility value U to each outcome, positive for benefits, negative for costs. Also estimate the probability of success P. The EU formula: EU equals P times US plus 1 minus P times UF. If EU is positive, the attempt is worth the risk. Example: Maya wants to get a new software license approved. Utility of success US equals plus 15 productivity gain visibility. Utility of failure UF equals minus 5 time spent slight credibility hit. She judges a 40% chance of success, P equals 0.4. EU equals 0.4 times 15 plus 0.6 times minus 5 equals 6 minus 3 equals 3. Since EU equals plus 3, Maya proceeds, perhaps adding a mitigation step, for example pilot trial to improve P. Risk-adjusted planning also includes risk aversion factor lambda that scales the negative utility. EU sub RA equals P times US minus lambda times 1 minus P times absolute value of UF. A more risk-averse employee might set lambda equals 1.5, reducing EU and possibly prompting a redesign of the proposal before approaching the manager. By quantifying both upside and downside, you avoid reckless lobbying and make strategic, data-driven decisions about when and how to push upward. Influencing a manager is not just a tactical game, it must stay within ethical norms and legal limits. Two key frameworks guide this: professional ethics, duties of honesty, fairness, and respect. Employment law, statutes that protect against discrimination, retaliation, and misuse of confidential information. Key ethical rules: transparency, do not hide conflicts of interest. If you stand to gain personally from a decision, disclose it. Respect for autonomy, avoid coercive tactics, for example threats or blackmail. Influence should be based on merit, not intimidation. Beneficence, aim for outcomes that benefit the organization and its stakeholders, not just your own career. Legal constraints include anti-discrimination laws. You cannot push a manager to favor or reject an employee based on protected characteristics such as race, gender, age, etc. Whistleblower protection. If your upward influence involves reporting illegal activity, you are protected from retaliation, but you must follow proper channels. Confidentiality agreements. Sharing proprietary data to persuade a manager without authorization can breach contracts and result in legal action. Real-world analogy. Imagine a road with traffic lights. Ethics are the road signs that tell you when it is safe to go. The law is the traffic police that can fine you for running a red light. You can accelerate past a red light, push aggressively, only if the sign says proceed with caution and no police are watching. Practical scenario. Sam wants his manager to move a project to a vendor in which Sam holds stock. Ethically, Sam must disclose his financial interest. Legally, failing to disclose could be considered a conflict of interest and breach securities regulations. The safe path is to be transparent, let the manager decide based on merit, and recuse himself from the final vendor selection. Maintaining ethical and legal boundaries protects your reputation, preserves trust with senior leaders, and prevents costly lawsuits or disciplinary actions.